The following is a transcript of a conversation between Matías De Stefano, referred to as me, and his higher self, referred to as I am. Me. To be all on the same page, then, is what is meant by context, like what surrounds us, is really what goes through us, conditions us, and makes us what we are here and now from the personality and the ego. But at the same time, it is what we knit ourselves before living in this reality. I am. As I explained to you yesterday, the universe arises from a single consciousness called the One Being or Universal Being, summed up in the verb I am. By expressing itself in the four directions of time, expression, experimentation, integration, and transcendence, and the four of space, tetrahedron, hexahedron, dodecahedron, and icosahedron, the being becomes the eight-legged spider of eternity, weaver of the web of the cosmic matrix. Her weave projects that potential in thousands of ways, and the different parts of her become entangled in the web that she wove herself. When the parts of her fabric stick to it, they stop being weavers to be woven, and from that moment on, they become part of the context of the cosmic spider's textile ensemble. To be born is to vibrate in this network, giving the sensation that the parts are flies, bees, or so many other insects trapped in the network you call the matrix. Thus, all parts are interconnected with each other as they enter the fabric of life, and if one vibrates, all the others will feel it. If each insect in the network is unaware of the others, the set of vibrations will be chaotic, and it will lose its meaning, its direction, its purpose, creating only confusion. This is what normally happens in life, in which the context that surrounds us is what conditions what we are, what we do, feel, and think. We are at the mercy of the network of the matrix, easy prey for the spider of time and space that will devour us in a cyclical wheel called samsara, the wheel of karma. Wrapped in a labyrinth with no way out. The flies represent the different eyes that exist trapped in the contextual network of the creative fabric. Usually, when the eyes realize that the net is the one that conditions them, they consider themselves in a prison, seeing themselves as victims of the spider and seek to escape from it. However, if they all resonated in balance, they would all become the web, vibrating in unison, and remembering that they too can be the creating spider. Me. So as long as we don't resonate in harmony with the contextual fabric, remembering that we are not the spider but parts of it, the context will determine us. I am. Exactly. That is why it is important to know the tissues that make us up. To believe that each individual is the creator of his own reality is to ignore the functioning of the networks and the cosmic fabric of the spider of time and space. Everything that exists is inevitably connected. No one creates their own reality, but we all co-create the universe around us. The only way to weave realities according to our own will is by recognizing and honoring the fabric, vibrating in harmony within it in order to start weaving. Nothing is separate. Everything is part of one thing. Therefore, to consider that it is you, a simple me, capable of creating everything that surrounds you, is to ignore that the fly cannot weave a web. But in turn, believing that a fly is incapable of changing a reality is to ignore the fact that its vibration can change the context of the entire network. The paradox lies in the fact that even though we are projected aspects of the being, we are still said being, only expanded, and therefore, to unite the creative power, we need to co-create. That is, create together with others. And those others are part of the context that creates us. Recognize the context, and you will know the tools that will help you create a new reality. Me. And how do I receive those tools? That is, how do I know what I can get from the external context to transform and harmonize my internal power and thus vibrate high and create? I am. Through the concept of apprehension. Me. What we learn in life, then, is what we acquire to build our own reality. No? I am. You must first understand the difference between learn and apprehend. Both come from the same root, however they have evolved to conceive concepts that are somewhat different from each other. Learning and apprehending come from the words ad, toward, pre, before, and hendere, to catch, grab. The concept conveys the idea of capturing something. But in the bifurcation of concepts, it is understood that learning refers to the imitation or assimilation of knowledge or information through constant repetition. However, apprehending implies something much deeper, because here one seizes said knowledge as one's own, integrates it, and makes it part of one's being naturally. Me. It's like someone who learns mathematics in school for exams, but then learns to be a merchant and manage numbers from a different context. I am. One learns the musical notes, the chords, the scores, but on the other hand, one apprehends the music and the melodies. Me. So, continuing with the example of the context, learning would be that when a vibration comes to me through the network from others, I imitate it and reply as it has come. But on the contrary, if I receive that same vibration, I assimilate it. I transform it according to my interior and consciousness, creating a vibration that surpasses the one I received. I will call it apprehension. No? I am. Exactly so. Therefore, when you have recognized the contextual world, you must now ask yourself what it is that you have apprehended from it and what it is that is learned. That is, what are the things that you made your own and with which you managed to do something better, and what are the things that you have continued to imitate from your context? Me. For example, I could say that I took my grandfather's will to discover new things when I shared reading, drawing, and music spaces with him, but I decided to leave the comfort of his routine space to launch myself into the experience and adventure of what he read and listened to. I apprehended his fascination with the world, but transcending the way he lived it. On the other hand, I recognized that my recurring depressive state was activated in moments of weakness to attract attention, something I learned to imitate from my grandfather's sister, my Aunt Olga, and I have imitated this for many years. I am. The mechanisms of our life are divided into learning and apprehensions, and the first ones we have experienced generally define the way in which we open ourselves to apprehending or learning new things. If you now intend to awaken a new expression in yourself, such as what you are doing, learning a new language, learning the piano, all of this will awaken what was recorded in your cells by interaction with the environment. The way your cells were habituated during the first years of your life to take in the context is repeated to this day in the way you incorporate new things. We could say that it is necessary to re-educate the body so that it can assimilate new things. Me. How do you re-educate a body? I am. First, you should know that you can't teach a fish to climb a tree, or a monkey how to dive into a reef. What that being has apprehended is what that being has become. For this reason, the first thing you must recognize is, what have you apprehended and learned in this life? And the next question that must be asked is, why and for what have you apprehended or learned it? When someone wants to heal his story and change his life to do something different, he often avoids the past or ignores the reason why things have happened in his life. For this, you must not question what you have experienced. You must understand it, assimilate it. Me. Then I must ask the questions. I am. This is the first question you should ask yourself today, and that I ask you. What was your first word? Me. According to my family, my first word was, thank you. I said mom much later. I clearly said it in a weird way, but that was it. I am. In such a way that your brain and body managed to express before any dependency the word of gratitude, which makes you live in surprise and gratitude for everything you live. The first word has a weight in all the thousands that you will learn later, because it is the first apprehension of the creative word, which molds the vocal cords, the throat, the tongue, to do an exercise that will be registered in your cells and DNA by the rest of your life. The ability to communicate. Now tell me, what was the first thing you remember learning in your life? Me. When I think about that, the moment when I walked for the first time comes to mind. My grandmother wanted me to crawl. She had that dream, but I never did. In fact, when she tried to push me forward on all fours, I fell forward and broke a front tooth that was just emerging. My grandmother told me that I never crawled forward a single step, and that out of nowhere one day I took hold of the chair and walked step by step towards another chair. I am, which marked the path in your life, moving forward, being a walker, without intermediate steps, without previous searches. Skipping steps builds a psyche and biology that intends to arrive before or faster than the rest, something that undoubtedly shaped your present, as well as your incessant search to do everything now, everything quickly, wanting to skip steps to see beyond what it is. Crawling implies looking at the ground, at the hands, at what is close to the ground, and yet who stands up looks at the horizon, at what is far away, and goes out of his way to launch himself to achieve it. So it is that your cells at that moment understood that they had to launch themselves into big and distant things that were almost impossible, and this in turn marked your constant stress looking to the future. Me. Wow. I never thought that such a small step from one chair to another at 1 year of age would mark everything I do and am now. I am. Well, that's right. And tell me, what did you learn from your environment? Me. I remember that my fascination with plants and trees, the seed and the fruit, was born from seeing and hearing my Aunt Olga's explanations on how to take care of them. She always told me about her plants since I was born. I remember my grandmother's action, riding a bicycle. My first time was with her, launching myself into an adventure, the adrenaline. I relate this to her. With my mother, I relate art, creativity, and detail, and patience, because we both drew together and we did crafts. I remember my great-grandmother's work with the land, helping her in the field that was the garden, harvesting, planting. From my aunt, the game and the laughter, the importance of having fun. From my grandfather, I caught the listening, the silence, the humor, the love for knowledge. In my environment, in addition, I saw the elementals, fairies, and goblins who explained to me about nature and the universe. I remember Sarah, my guardian angel, teaching me about love and forgiveness since I was little, and Kuen, my guide, telling me about humans and how to emotionally relate to others, as well as doing alchemy with my friends' games. All of this shaped who I am today. I had never thought about it. Where did all of these things come from before my astrological chart? I always attribute my attitudes and others to the moon, sun, Mercury, etc., with Leo, Sagittarius, Capricorn, etc., but never with the physical context. I am. That's why you have to review these questions, because your physical body, your greatest tool, is made up of all the apprehension of your human context, of your life here and now. Me. I am ready, then, to honor what I learned as a human being in my childhood, to recognize what I am thanks to what has resonated with me in my environment. I am. The first word, the first learning, the first apprehension, and what each one in your environment has left you to be who you are the doors to build what you will be. Me. I apprehend. I am. Well, we are all a constant network of education.